Thank you so much for that introduction, and thank you, Alfie, for inviting me.
It's so wonderful to see you.
Can you hear me now? Sorry. So wonderful to see everyone here. All right, good morning, brave, strong, valued, resilient sisters, and welcome to the Washington Women Veterans Summit. I've never been to an event with this many of my sisters. Isn't it awesome? Awesome. I'm really happy to be here. Today, I want to provide you, where is the click? Oh, there it is, sorry. Today, I want to provide you with the 12 steps for women veterans to achieve well-being. Usually I memorize my speeches, but this one's pretty long, and also I don't want to miss anything, so I'm gonna go ahead and read to you. As you know, I'm Dr. Lisa Kirk-Brown. This is a little bit about me. I'm very excited to learn more about all of you, and so by a show of hands, who among you served in Iraqi freedom? Me too. How about enduring freedom? Yeah. Desert Storm? Nice. Vietnam War? Wonderful, thank you. Korean War? Wow. Okay, and then anyone, by any chance, from World War II? Anyone? Well, yeah. Well, I'm proud to say thank you for all of you for serving our country and answering the call. Inevitably, your sacrifices affected your well-being. Today is about your new mission to achieve well-being. I really want you to think of it as a military mission. You're all really good at that, and I think it's really important to think of your well-being as a mission. Achieve well-being is designed to give you the ability to increase your comfort, health, and happiness. That's not something that we talk about in the military very often, comfort, health, and happiness. Actually, it's the exact opposite, I think. And so today, I want to help you heal and prevent illness if you properly implement these steps. Here's a short outline of what I want to cover today, and it'll be about 50 minutes. At the end, we'll have some time for questions and answers. Some of you may be thinking that your military service affected your well-being positively, kind of like Ms. Williams talked about. And others of you may be thinking that it affected your well-being negatively. So we need to define what it is. Well-being is the state of being comfortable, healthy, and happy. So for me personally, in 1986, the movie Top Gun hit the stages, and I was 19 years old, and I had just received my appointment to the United States Air Force Academy, so I was super excited about this movie. My appointment to the Academy was very positive to my well-being. I grew up fairly poor, from a single mom, kind of exactly what Kayla said actually, and I knew that I would have an education and a job when I went there. So I was really happy about this, and I thought, what a great nation we live in that could give me an education, that I could do this. I wanted to fly. I felt the need for speed, and I had a deep desire to be a pilot. I knew if I went to the academy, I could have a job, as well as a commission in the Air Force, and I could be a pilot. At the academy that June, I discovered that I was only the 11th class with women, and I was completely shocked. I thought for sure there would be tons of women that had done this before me. I had no idea. I grew up with the Angelique commercials. Does anybody remember this?
Yes.
I don't know if you do, but I can't sing. I'm not going to sing the jingle, but some of you may be old enough to remember this jingle. I'll just read it. You can sing it if you know it. You can bring home the bacon, fry it up in a pan, and never, ever, ever let him forget he's a man. Because you're a woman, Angelique. The 8-hour perfume for the 24-hour woman. Just look at this lady. She's the quintessential 80s woman. Thin, blonde, totally not like me. Working while taking care of kids. She's exercising. She's cooking. She does it all. We were taught we could do that, and we believed it. I thought I could even add to all this and wear a US Air Force uniform and fly. So, of course, I was only 19. My freshman year, I was asked which aircraft I wanted to fly. I was equally shocked to learn in 1986 that women were not allowed to fly combat aircraft. And so my need for speed kind of went down the tubes when I realized, and the guys laughed at me because I wanted to fly an F-16, that I couldn't do that. I couldn't fly an F-16. These and other Air Force realities negatively impacted my state of comfort, health, and happiness. I was really unhappy about that. Things are different today for women in the military and at the service academies, but I have a funny feeling that their well-being is still being impacted positively and negatively. Last year, I was fortunate enough to meet the Disabled American Veterans National Adjutant, Mark Burgess. I thanked him repeatedly for his work to help veterans claim disability benefits, as they helped me dramatically when I was forced to retire from a naval civilian job. You see, in 1999, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And in 2014, with lupus caused by my MS medications, prescribed by my military and VA doctors. My medical management, fatigue, pain, neuropathy, all increased to the point that I could no longer work full-time, or part-time for that matter. I knew I needed to apply what I knew to get better and to prevent more illness. I had studied this my whole life as a doctor. Mark asked me if I wanted to speak to DAV veterans and if I wanted to share my methods, and I said definitely. I had plans to do a video blog in January aimed at people with chronic illness and injury, and to write a book in that same vein in 2017, all for free. Mark expressed that that was a great idea, and so the blog was born. I specifically want to highlight some VA disability benefits for Desert Storm veterans experiencing illnesses related to increased mitochondrial DNA or mitochondrial DNA damage that lead to chronic fatigue. I worked on Gulf War illness professionally for a long time, and now the VA does presume certain chronic conditions. Please contact a VA rep or a DAV rep if you need more information on this and served in that conflict. Okay, as many of you are aware, there are currently lots of people speaking on well-being. I think about Cameron Diaz and Ariana Huffington, whose books are actually excellent. However, these people are the elite. From my perspective, they don't have chronic illness or disability. They just don't inspire me at all. They have more money than I can even imagine, and they haven't lived like this. It's a little hard for those of us in this room to relate to them when our lives have been spent standing at attention while getting yelled at, carrying a weapon, low crawling through mud, survival training, flying in helicopters, PT, wearing camouflage, and now possibly managing chronic illness or disability. I reconciled this by creating my own model that I want to share with you today. Before I share the Achieve Wellbeing model, though, I must iterate that if you served in the military and think your service caused an injury or illness, you may be entitled to benefits, VA benefits that you have earned, just like Ms. Williams said. Please know that you're not taking benefits from anyone in this room or any other veterans in the nation. There was a woman from the DAV who was scheduled to be here, and she wasn't able to make it. So there's a VA table in the exhibit place back there that has some women veterans and some DAV information for you. Please take advantage of that while you're here. Personally, I can't recommend the DAV service enough. They truly advocated for me. I didn't know when I started down this path about 5 or 6 years ago, I didn't know that I was a veteran. I didn't know that my disability and my illness was caused by military service. And they significantly changed my life by helping me financially and helping me to get into the VA where I get my current health care. Finally, in regards to VA benefits, the VA maintains a national call center for women veterans that can provide you information on the services. Here's their number. They also have an anonymous chat. Kayla mentioned it, and I just thought that this was important for you to write down if you needed it. Okay, that was a long introduction, but very important to well-being because financial stress is can be very damaging to our health. Now, please let me discuss the model, the Achieve Wellbeing model. Firstly, this slide lists the URL for the video blog. It's a series of detailed workshops on this model. Installment 18 of 24 was released this past Monday. You can subscribe to the blog and get all updates as they're released. You can also get there by just Googling Dr. Lisa Kirk-Brown, YouTube. Today I'll simply give you an overview of the Achieve Wellbeing model because the blog provides a lot more specifics and the book will give even more. So what's the goal? The goal of Achieve Wellbeing is to reduce stress, inspire comfort, health, and happiness, and to provide you efforts for your direction for your efforts. It's to empower you. This is not to promote guilt. I don't want you to walk away from here feeling like you're not doing enough. I don't want you to walk away from here thinking that you aren't healthy. I don't want you to beat yourself up. I want you to take these tools and empower yourself, and I'll explain exactly how you're going to do that. And I'm going to reiterate it over and over and over again because I know you're women veterans. And I know you're going to walk out of here saying, I shouldn't have eaten that, I shouldn't have done that, I shouldn't have done this, I should, all that tape recorder is going to play. So I'm going to help you not to do that, okay? Here, yeah? Everybody? Okay, good. Promise. Okay, stress. Stress greatly impacts well-being. The adrenaline and cortisol released due to stress have both positive and negative impacts on the body. These effects are similar for men and women, but they're not the same. We all experience stress. We all have bad days. However, military members go into harm's way, and therefore their stress can sometimes be much more traumatic than their civilian counterparts. When I was in medical school at the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences, I was very intrigued by the biochemical, anatomical, and physiological differences between men and women veterans. I began asking questions about the impact of military service on women. I began, in some ways, military life reduced my stress because I didn't have to worry about clothes, hair, makeup, stuff like that. That's kind of obvious from those photos. And then on the other hand, military service isn't really the typical life for a high school female graduate, is it? When I graduated from high school in South Florida, my friends thought I was going to the police academy. I told them I was going to the Air Force Academy. And they all said, oh, you're going to the police academy. And I didn't argue that because I knew they didn't really understand. There wasn't anybody else going into the military except one guy. They threw a party for him, actually, but not me. They didn't know that I'd be eating rabbits' eyeballs in survival training, or that I'd be evading the enemy in survival school, or that I'd be deployed to Bosnia or wherever I went. Many of us in this room maintain high levels of stress from these experiences, but also from, as Kayla was saying, from relocations, deployments, relationships, parenting, finances, amongst other things. I really don't have to tell you that women veterans have stress. You've all lived it. Trying to keep up with your male counterparts while managing family and home relationships. Socially, women still maintain greater home and family responsibilities than our male counterparts. My last Air National Guard assignment was to NSA. I worked in a SCIF, a secret compartment area, and I ate lunch every day at my desk. I usually ate a lean cuisine because I had a 15-year-old son, I was a single parent, and that was my typical thing. I just ate at my desk because I could get out of work a little earlier to take care of Noah. And there was a guy in my office that would show up every day with a home-cooked meal. I mean, delicious stuff. Like, it was like a dream of mine to have a meal like that, right? So I would tell him every day, you know, you really need to go home and thank your wife. You need to take her flowers. You need to do something because I don't have that. I'll never have that. And I would compare it to him every day. So all of us have experienced that. All of us, maybe we have cooked those meals, but it's at some cost. And usually it's stress. We can all muddle through it. I know that you're tough. I know that you're women veterans. But really, what I want you to ask yourself is, do I need to do that? Do I need to cause that stress? Because stress does impact us physically, mentally, spiritually. One of my personal missions is to advocate for more research on this topic. There's still not a lot of research on women veterans specifically and how stress impacts them. As of 2011, there's 2 studies, and Kayla mentioned the Million Veteran Program that's offered by the VA. There's another one, the Millennium Cohort Study, which started in 2000 out of the Uniformed Services University, which is great. Both are gaining public health knowledge on both men and women veterans, and both of them have enough women enrolled to be able to generalize health information from them. So the Millennium Cohort has 31% women, and 61% of the study group has deployed, so they'll get some good information. So far, they've gotten a lot of information, or they've had a lot of generalized public health information. You can find it on their website. One key finding is that physical activity is associated with decreased PTSD symptoms. I'm enrolled in both of these studies, and I would really encourage you, if you're asked while you're at the VA, if you do get your health care there, that you would enroll in the Million Veteran Study. The Achieve Wellbeing model begins with a personal assessment. It's a 13-question assessment that you complete as honestly as possible to guide your personal roadmap to achieve well-being. We are not going to do this survey today, but it's guided for you on YouTube, and I'm happy to email you a hard copy. I'll give you my contact information at the end. Again, I want to make a disclaimer that my talk today is just an overview. More of the detail is found on the website. The Achieve Wellbeing model is built on 4 pillars and 2 foundations. The first foundation includes your genetics, education, family, and community. Your next foundation includes the personal decisions you make for well-being. The pillars are environment, occupation, personal lifestyle, and relationships. We are here today because we all picked the military occupation at some point in our life. Some of these foundational pillars and elements are in your control, and some are not, like your genetics. What I want you to take away is that the areas within your control can be modified to benefit your state of comfort, health, and happiness using this model. Regardless of your ability or disability, you don't have to be perfect health to walk away today with comfort, health, and happiness, or at least the tools to get comfort, health, and happiness. Regardless of having potentially lived a more stressful life, and because your body may be more damaged from your occupation than someone like Cameron Diaz, I want to inspire you that you can be well by educating yourself, making informed decisions, adjusting your lifestyle, and managing stress. Personally, I just told you I have 2 chronic diseases, and I sincerely have been able to maintain a state of comfort, health, and happiness. I truly believe that everyone in this room can do that, and I hope to inspire you. The Achieve Wellbeing model is a wheel and spoke model. It's broken down into 4 aspects, which comprise what we're made of: physical, mental, spiritual, and personality. We're all made up of mind, body, and spirit in this thing called psyche, thankfully. These 4 aspects are further divided into 12 elements that I'm going to describe now. First, as I describe the 12 elements, I would like for you to keep in the back of your mind the idea of mindfulness. Mindfulness is a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment, while calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations. Mindfulness is a common thread among all the elements of Achieve Wellbeing and requires us to be gentle with ourselves. Mindfulness has been proven to reduce stress and increase comfort, health, and happiness. Healing begins with our thoughts, and only we can control our thoughts. Ask yourself, where do I feel good at today? Not only, where do I hurt today? Again, your new mission is to achieve well-being. Fundamentally, in each moment, Give your body the right fuel, exercise, and thoughts. My motto will empower you to do that. This cartoon illustrates one of the best takeaways from my time with you. Right now, is your mind full, or are you mindful of being here? All right, let's be mindful of being here. It's a good thing, we're here, right? And as Kayla said, we're not being shot at. Something I say that again. This cartoon, the first element of achieved well-being is activity and rest. We all take for granted that we breathe. Air, food, and water are essential for life. Activity increases our respiration, metabolic state, and cardiovascular health. Movement lubricates our joints and strengthens our muscles. Rest rejuvenates our cells and rests our body and mind. Activity and rest are fundamental to our comfort, health, and happiness. What does the medical research recommend for activity and rest for those with disability or illness? It's pretty simple. Exercise as often as possible, aim for every day, and sleep 7 to 8 hours a night. If this is difficult for you or an area highlighted in your self-assessment after you take it, my blog will give you some helpful tips from the research. Today, I can't run anymore, and I can really only walk about a half mile before I have to sit down. But I do yoga 3 times a week, and I swim as much as I can. There's lots of ways to modify your activity level. It's not about what you're doing, it's about just doing it. The second element is nutrition. You literally are what you eat. I have always believed that food is medicine. Many medical doctors are now working towards including nutrition and gut health as a primary treatment of certain chronic diseases. In 1999, when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, my neurologist didn't mention nutrition. The VA doctors really still don't talk much about nutrition. I asked him about a diet I discovered in the bookstore, and he said, and I quote, "There is no medical evidence that diet affects MS." Well, I changed my diet to low fat, no alcohol, no meat for a year. I took supplements that were recommended in that book, and I increased my fruit and vegetables. I truly believe that's why I can still walk today. There's lots of evidence today that our diet hurts us or helps us to live well. Dr. Susan Blum is an expert in functional medicine, and she's written a book called The Immune System Recovery Plan. She's helped many people to live well with immune system disorders. There's lots of information out there today. I don't want to make you feel bad for eating a donut now and again. That's not the purpose of this talk. It's totally unproductive to do that. But I do want you to recognize that we eat roughly 87,000 meals in our lifetime. That's a lot of food. And I enjoy every one of my meals. I am mindful about the food I take into my body, and I enjoy it, and I revel in it, and I try to pick the things that are gonna help me be the most healthy that I can be. This isn't about what you look like. This is about well-being. It's not about fad diets, and it's definitely not about restrictions. It's about moderation. Nothing is bad in and of itself. It's how much of it you take. Women are different metabolically than men and need to invest time and money in their nutritional requirements. Go organic if you can afford it. You're worth it. Make sure that you are spending some of your financial resources on your nutrition. For myself, I try to eat mostly gluten, dairy, and alcohol-free because I have 2 inflammatory conditions, and that helps me quite a bit. But I had a glass of wine last night with the ladies, and I had a muffin this morning because that's all that was out there. But I still try to, most of the time, 90% of the time, keep within my certain diet. And that's what I'm asking you to do, not all the time. Finally, medicine is an important element in physical well-being as you age or are dealing with a chronic illness. Practice self-care and be your own best advocate with your doctor. Ask lots of questions. As I said, I receive all of my medical care from the VA, and although it can be quite challenging and time-consuming, I advocate for my care. Listen carefully, I want to tell you this. Be your own best friend. Treat yourself like you would treat your best friend. If you would tell your best friend to go and get that breast cancer screening, do that for yourself. Be your own best friend in the doctor's office. Think about someone that you care about who would advocate for you if they were there. For me, it's not my mother, but my grandmother would be the one that would say, you should do that, you should rest, you should take care of that with your doctor. Say that stuff to yourself while you're in your doctor's office. Remember, medical diagnosis and treatment is only 1/12 of this model, so if you're putting everything into that doctor's office to take care of your well-being, it's too much. It's only 1/12. Address side effects. Can be compliant with your medication and what your doctors told you, and investigate complementary and alternative medicine that can sometimes be more healing and preventive than traditional medicine. For the mental aspects of well-being, there are also 3 elements. Education, which is exercising the brain, exploration and networking, and creativity and passion. Current medical research is growing on the benefits of exercising your brain through reading, memorization, brain games, and learning new skills. Try to incorporate these into your day. Choose happiness by exploring and doing things that make you happy. Start each day with gratitude, which has been proven to increase our happiness. Spend time with people and in awe of your Creator and the creation around you. Volunteer and give your time and talents to others, which have also been statistically proven to increase our mental happiness. Network with others like we are here today. Increased human connection is imperative to increase our happiness. Personally, I know the temptation to isolate when you don't feel well, but I also know that connecting with others helps me, so I do it. Barbara Fredrickson is a leading author on happiness psychology, and you can investigate her online, and I'll talk more about her in my blog. Finally, creativity and passion have also been shown to increase our mental function and state. I'm not creative in the Martha Stewart sense at all, but I enjoy writing and listening to music. Just listening to music has been known to increase your happiness and your mental state. Both of them keep my mind active and help to reroute my neural pathways, and they're fun for me. We're not in the military any longer. Isn't it time to have fun? Isn't it time to do fun things? Spiritually, well-being is an area that is being discussed more and more today. Spiritually, I personally became a Christian when I was 22, so I've practiced these type of principles most of my life, about half of my life. I have faith in Christ that fills me with His Spirit, and I feel spiritually alive, and I want that for you. To have spiritual health, I don't believe you have to practice a religion, so this isn't about religion. I do think you need to pay attention to your spirit because it's a big part of who you are. How do you do that? First, you meditate or pray. Mindfulness meditation has proven health benefits, such as lowered blood pressure and better mood. Prayer has also been shown to do the same thing. This can be applied to all 12 steps of the Achieve Wellbeing model. Shortly, I'm going to lead us in a meditation practice. Transcendental meditation is a much deeper type of meditation, but that's also good for increasing our ability to live in the moment and to have a more peaceful spirit. Mindfulness is so powerful because it allows you to be truly present for your own comfort, health, and happiness, and for others. Mindfulness keeps us from bringing up the past and focusing on the worry of tomorrow. It allows us to be present and engaged in the parts of life that are good. Like I said, right now, we're being shot at or yelled at nor harmed, so we can enjoy this moment. And try to remember to be mindful in all things, activity, rest, games, etc., so that I can fully experience the life I have. The next step in spiritual well-being is to feed your soul. There are 2 scientifically proven methods to feed your soul. They make up the other 2 elements in the spiritual aspect of my model. They are relationships and emotions and being in nature. Relationships and emotions are the primary means to connect with others. However, they can be a source of stress. The stress of our relationships and emotions can be healed through counseling, cognitive therapy, EMDR, hypnosis, etc. While I'm not a psychologist, I want to remove the stigma right now today of seeking assistance in this area. Please go to a professional. if in this moment you are currently experiencing stress in your relationships and emotions. There are proven methods to healing. Think of a mental health professional as a resource, someone who can help you understand the sources of your relational or emotional stress. On my blog, I give a wheel of emotion that's hundreds of words that describe emotions. It's an area that I was severely lacking in as a young person, and I think many of us in this room were taught to stuff down our emotions in the military, and we do that for our life. And it's really not a way to grow or to be in touch with oneself. So I'm really encouraging you to try to understand this area if you're lacking like I was. These things are imperative in our relational and emotional well-being. Please explore self-compassion and positive self-talk. Kristen Neff has a book called Self-Compassion, the proven power of being kind to yourself, which I cannot recommend highly enough. Being a veteran means you've heard a lot of negatives about yourself. You most likely have also witnessed the very worst environments on our planet. This constant barrage of negativity can ultimately translate into self-debasement and shaming. I cannot stress enough that you must be your own best friend and let the tape recorder you play in your mind be one of affirmation. Gone are the days of concern over seeking help and love. Let go of negative messages brought to you through your military service and be as kind to yourself as you would be to your best friend. Any relationship challenge you have is just another opportunity to learn and grow. All challenge in life is for our ultimate benefit. Be mindful of the present relationship challenges and grow through them. You can learn this. Many of you have faced much greater enemies than your current relationships or emotions. There is hope for healing. Even if you aren't able to change your current relationships, you can change the relationship you have to yourself. Nature is the last element in the spiritual aspect of well-being, and this is a very exciting topic of research currently in the medical community. It's fairly limited, but it's pretty compelling that we need to be outside. Try to commit to getting outdoors. Like I told you, my running days are over, but I get out every day, even if it's just to walk to my mailbox or drive in my car with the top down. I have a convertible. So if I'm outside in my car, it improves my happiness and my mood. And I bought that car specifically because I can't run anymore. Used. Okay, and the last aspect of spiritual well-being is personality. This isn't spoken of too much in public health, but I believe it's a huge part of our lifestyle decision-making process and one to be capitalized on. Each one of us is unique and driven by different motivations. We all have different ideas of risk and benefit. No one method of resilience, knowledge, or inspiration motivates us all to be well. This is not about judging ourselves. The whole idea of mindfulness is to have thoughts and emotions without judgment. So I'm not asking you to look at yourself and compare yourself to someone else, and I'm not asking you to do any kind of judgment on who you are as a person. Understanding yourself can greatly assist you in achieving well-being. First, become self-aware. Know your strengths and weaknesses. More and more evidence suggests that we should capitalize on our strengths, not try to attempt to improve our weaknesses. We were taught differently, at least my generation was taught differently. We were told all the time to improve our weaknesses. But the research today says completely different. It says to work with your strengths. Spend time in reflection with yourself and in meditation. Take personality tests. Spend time with someone you trust and ask them what good and bad they see in you. Learn what motivates you and makes you happy so that you can make decisions for wellness. I have a friend who cannot limit her intake of ice cream, so she just doesn't allow herself to have it. Me, I get fatigued in the afternoon, so I go to yoga in the morning. I can't do power yoga, so I do an MS adaptive yoga class. It's way easier, all of you could do it like that, but it makes me come back. So I'm not anymore this triathlete who has to do a Olympic distance triathlon, and I was down about that for a while. But now I realize how blessed I am that I can even move at all, so I'm happy to be at Adaptive Yoga. Yeah. You are all warriors. Remember your training. Remember that training that you have. You are warriors. Sun Tzu was another warrior. He was an ancient military master. His most famous quote you all know your enemy and know yourself. Another quote of his I really like and I live by is sometimes we need to lose the small battles in order to win the war. You may eat that donut today. You might pick yourself apart about it, but the real thing is the war, not the battle. Remember that you can still win the war. Pick yourself up the next day and remember to get back to your goal of health. Allow yourself a time of self-criticism, but stop it at some point. It's not anyone else's job to do that but yours. You can stop it yourself. Allow yourself a time to say, I wish I didn't eat that donut. But then, whether it's an hour or 10 minutes or the next day, stop yourself from saying that. Please stop yourself. Know your own behavior and set boundaries with yourself and others. You can change your behavior. Science suggests it takes 3 days to make or break a habit. 3 days. Set boundaries with yourself that enable you to succeed, and set boundaries with others in that same vein. Say no to things that subtract from your comfort, health, and happiness, and don't feel guilty about it. I'm not asking you to be completely self-absorbed or not to serve others, but I am asking you to give yourself permission to take care of your own well-being. If you aren't well, you are no good to anyone, in my opinion. I know all of you are tough, and I know you know how to push yourselves, but how about you make a commitment to pushing yourself to be comfortable, healthy, and happy the majority of the time? Again, I want to come back to self-compassion. Strive to understand your feelings without punishment. Realize that everyone goes through this, and don't ignore or exaggerate the situation. Finally, remember your own self-discipline. You have this. Just by the fact that you're here in this audience, I can deduce that you graduated high school, finished basic training, and completed some time in service, more than anyone's done. All of these require a serious level of self-discipline. All right, I've given you a lot of information. I want to now talk about positive self-talk. Change the messages in your own head from critical to compassionate. You are in control of your thoughts and therefore your well-being, your state of comfort, health, and happiness. This was a quick overview of the 12 steps, and I want you to remember to refer to the blog and await the free book at the beginning of 2018. But now I want to lead you in a little bit of a stretching and breathing exercise that's aimed at helping you to understand your self-talk, as well as to help you be mindful in the moment. All right, so this practice will take about 5 minutes. So, Lisa, did you say I have 5 minutes left or 10? 5? Okay. Let's just do one quick breathing exercise, and then I'm going to read this yoga